All right, and we're here back on another episode of Salient Points number 80. This one's for August 30th, 2022. Carlos Macias is the master of ceremonies here. Whatever Dalan Kirkwood wants to call me this week. Dalan Kirkwood, thank you for joining us, sir.
Thank you, Carlos, master of turtles.
Okay. I mean, I'll take it. I'll take it. We also have Jeremy Lowe on the podcast. How are you doing, sir? Thank you for joining us again.
I'm a little sleep deprived, but other than that, I'm good.
We did
He's got
go
a case
see
of the Mondays.
and no, not even just a case of Mondays. Then I don't know about you, Jeremy, but I didn't go to work because we went to go see the Strokes at a festival. Festivals they're wacky, dude. Especially you get a little older and all that standing and all that. It's wild, but I hope you enjoyed the experience. I think it was your first time at a festival, right, Jeremy?
It was my first time seeing the Strokes too.
It was my first time. I took my child, so that was an interesting experience. A 13-year-old at a festival. My parents never took me to crap. If they're listening, thank you, folks. Never took me to nothing. I'm taking the child somewhere. But yeah, I was telling her how I was like, hey, how do you feel about in your 13 years of life, you've seen the Strokes for the first time, and your parents also in the 20 years that we've known of the Strokes. It's our first time going to see them. But it was wacky. We spent the night. Well, not spent the night, but it was a long day. Deo Blas also sporting a brand new spanking house. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Good to be back. Thanks, guys, for
We missed you, man.
having me back
We missed
for
you. I
so
think
long.
I speak
Sorry.
for everyone. I speak for everyone, I believe. Dalan, I hope I speak for you, but we missed Dalan, right? Or Deo. My bad, Dale. We're already starting off.
Oh,
We're already
snap.
starting off on the wrong foot. Deo, I will say this. So Deo, his laptop is kind of, he doesn't have a charger. So Dale, what are you at right now? What percentage are you at on your laptop?
We are 60.
Okay, well, all right, we're gonna get going here. At
Dropping
some
quick.
At some
Yeah.
point, Dale will have to drop off, but we're gonna miss you, man. We're gonna miss you, but we'll try to kind of take advantage of it while we're here. We'll get right into it. Jet, it's been a little while since he commented, but he did comment this past week on YouTube.com. Remember, we got comms.com. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And if you get your comments on there, especially if you're talking crap about Dalan, you're gonna get on the show. And Dale, in the future, maybe we can
Why
kind
does
of
it have to specifically be about me, though?
I know what I said. But Dale, like I said, you got a nice voice on Twitter Nation. So if you want to kind of rouse some people, we can kind of get that going in the future. When you got some
Want me
juice,
to start, console warring? I could do that.
when you got a little bit more
you-
juice on your laptop, maybe throw a poll
No.
up or something, But Jet, he did say this was for episode 78. He said, "Good luck getting Dalan to play any game that he has no interest in. Been trying to get him to go 10 rounds with me in Marvel vs. Capcom 1, I believe, for years now, not to mention co-op with
Nope,
Strangers of
not
Paradise."
even one. If it was one, I would have said yes.
All right, but not to mention co-op and Strangers of Paradise. I will say nobody wants to play that crap, Jet. I'm sorry. I don't blame Dalan for that. No one wants to play that.
Yeah, that's not
he's
very
trying
good.
He's trying to play the worst Marvel vs. Capcom, which is Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. That's what that eye
Oh,
is.
that's what that iPhone. Oh man, you're wilding, dude. You're wilding. It does have nice
I was
cell
about to
shading.
say.
That's some nice
See,
cell
it's
shading.
not that I won't play new games or even games that I don't care for, because I'm down to play Arcade Mageddon, whatever that is, Multiverses. But you're trying to get me to play Strangers in Paradise, which I played the demo
It's pretty
for,
crappy.
and I did not like it.
Now the other comment, real quick.
And-
Remember, Dalan, we're working against the clock here. We're working against the clock.
yeah.
Dale probably just went 5% down on that one. The next thing on here is also,
Dang.
don't the studios alternate, a couple alternates there, who makes Call of Duty each year? Like the Black Ops games were made by one studio, and between years were a different team. Yeah, they alternate years, and next year they're gonna be off, right, Dale? They're gonna be off for a year on the Call of Duty teams. So the next thing, he left another comment, just kind of standalone comment out there, but he said hashtag bring back Ecto Cooler. We'll go to Dale first on that. What are your thoughts on this Ecto Cooler situation?
That is the summertime drink of our childhoods. I don't know if you guys remember that thing, but like that was the dealio. It was a what do you call it?
Dealio.
But it was
real
no,
quick.
it was like the coolest thing. It was like Ghostbusters and Squeeze-Its put together, and they made that was like our generation's Baja Blast or whatever is going on right now.
Who sponsored us, I
So-
believe, last episode or 2 episodes ago.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
But Ecto Cooler, bring that back. Bring whoever owns it, Nabisco or Nestle or whatever, PepsiCo, whatever. Bring
one
it
of the
back.
big ends, one of the big end companies or something. Nestle, Nabisco. Dalen, what is the Ecto Cooler? Dalen, I'm kind of What is the situation?
I don't
there?
know. It sounds terrible. It sounds like I'd never drink it. I stuck with Kool-Aid. That was my drink as a child.
So this was a legit thing. Was it about Ghost? It's not a Ghostbusters thing.
It was.
It was. Okay.
Yeah, like Slimer. It was like a green bottle on a squeeze-it bottle, and it was like Slimer, like his essence inside of a of a drink.
His essence.
I'm
His
sure it was around the
like
time that the Ghostbusters cartoon was out.
Yeah.
Ecto is short for ectoplasm.
Yeah.
Ecto 1. It was all over the show.
Okay,
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, I have to look into that. I kind of vaguely remember something like that. Next thing that Jet said, this was for Salient Points number 79. He said, "But didn't you work on the older Final Fantasies? Don't hit me up like that. This isn't a dial to takedown." What does this man mean, Dalan? What is he talking about here?
He's referring to the fact that in our chats we were talking about how Final Fantasy likes to follow me around and take my ideas. Because I was in Final Fantasy 12. They had old Dalan in Final Fantasy 12 as a character. And I even came up with an idea. I was like, hey, we should make it to where people walk into cities and some major thing actively happens and everybody could just join. Final Fantasy 11 rolls out like 2 weeks after that with that exact idea, and I was super upset. But it just kept happening.
Okay.
Yeah, every time I come up with an idea, the next Final Fantasy has it for whatever reason.
You're also in the Quarry, Dalan. We've been playing the Quarry lately. You're also in the Quarry.
No, you
Dylan.
refer to me as being in the Quarry. No.
Okay, they just kind of changed your name a little bit. Hey, we'll get to the big thing on here. Remember, WeGotComs.com. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Comment, especially if you're hitting up Dalan, like Jet just hit him up. We'll get you on here.
I will respond.
He will. Oh, we know. We're aware.
I mean, whether I'm right or wrong, I will respond.
I don't know if you've heard lately, Dale, but he's gotten corrected by our commenters. This guy Matthew was like, "I need to correct Dalan." I was like, "Yep."
For real?
Go.
Wow.
Let's
okay.
go. Let's do it.
It'll happen.
All right. So the headline.
Public forum. Bring it.
There you go. This past week, we got kind of big news. The PlayStation 5 is going to get a price hike around the world, not in the U.S. apparently, but it's getting a price hike in Europe, Australia, Japan, China, and parts of North America. So I'm assuming, Mexico, I would think Mexico, right? And Canada. Yeah, Mexico, except the U.S.
That's it.
So there's gonna. I know it's weird, right? Why not just say Mexico and Canada? So it's going up an average of $30. Like we said, not in the U.S. They said inflation and other global economic problems are to blame. And of course, Nintendo and Microsoft got hit up about it. Nintendo said they don't have any plans for a price increase. But I got to remind you guys, there's that swoled out there. I feel like that's a price increase right there in a sly sort of way, right? How much does a OLED screen really cost, right? And Microsoft, they had a spokesman. This was via WindowsCentral.com. Wario64 put it up. They said, quote, "No plans to raise the price of Xbox Series X or Xbox Series S, reiterating that they will remain at their baseline RRPs in various currencies, including USD, GBP, and EUR. So Euro, pound, whatever that is. VGC did say that, this was on one of the tweets that they put out. They said the PS5 price increase is likely to have, quote, a minimal impact on sales, end quote, of Sony's console. Data and analytics firm Ampere Analysis has predicted, although it says, quote, this move hands some advantage to Microsoft. So we'll go with Dale here since he's kind of running low on battery over there. But what are your thoughts on this, man? What do you think about this?
I think it's bullshit. Absolute bullshit.
I like it.
Even though we're not experiencing the hike, I think it's sus that like the rest of the major territories are experiencing, especially Japan, which is PlayStation's home. Yeah. So I think it's really weird. Also, the hardware is 2 years old. And there are more like services and pay services and DLC and MTXs out there that they could totally, negate that whatever price hike they've been experiencing due to supply chain costs.
I think that it's really wacky, right? I think around the world, there's a couple things. I think around the world is the U.S. is their biggest market. I feel like that's the biggest market, even more than Japan. It's it's just huge. We are a consumer country, right? So it's the biggest market.
It's the most competitive one.
It's the most competitive one for sure, because they have Microsoft here that's competitive, because Microsoft isn't necessarily as competitive in other parts of the country. I mean, I know lately we've talked about it on the podcast how it's sold more than PlayStation 5 in Japan. It's like, yeah, but you got chip shortages, and it's not, consoles aren't necessarily even selling that much over there, so they sell by 1,000 more units. Right. And the other thing I think is the strength of the dollar. We don't got to get political or anything like that, but I think the dollar is pretty strong. right now. You know,
Right.
relative to
Yeah.
what's
I
in
don't
there.
get how like macroeconomics works. I took that back in like whatever high school or whatever like that, but apparently it's really strong, so that gives an advantage
Yeah.
um, for them. But I don't know. I just think it's just odd. I think we've been so accustomed to having corporations sell something like this, a box at a loss, that they would, recuperate the costs in software or some other services, right?
Yeah.
So I just think it's really odd that they're able to do this right now, especially with PlayStation 5's momentum. Like
Yeah.
everyone wants them, which is totally true for what that quote said about like they're not going to experience anything, like any complete loss or of
Yeah.
sales or anything, which is true. But I think it's
Yeah,
just
and
price
and,
gouging
and
at their
it's
point.
Microsoft, man. It's so huge that they're like, we'll take the losses as long as we keep churning them out, keep selling these consoles. Because right now, I think
Yeah.
they might be like neck and neck. I think a few months ago, Microsoft was like, we've sold quite a few, and it's been years since they had said anything about how many units they've sold. So I think it's kind
Sure.
of like they're running neck and neck, and like Microsoft's like, nope, we're gonna try to kind of sneak in there. And Nintendo, they beat to their own drum. So and they just gave us a price hike with the Swole.
But Nintendo's going to sell. It doesn't matter. Nintendo's going to be whatever.
Nintendo's gonna sell. It
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
exactly.
They're
Doesn't
doing
matter.
their own thing.
They
So-
outsell the other two like combined, so they don't care.
That's true. Jeremy, we'll go with you, man. We haven't heard from you. What are your thoughts on this price hike here?
Yeah, it's like I guess I'm of two minds of it, right? Because I work in manufacturing, I understand all of the frustrations and the struggles when it comes to supply chain issues and price hikes on all components and that sort of thing. On the other hand, it's like, why do they feel that they need this hike, given how many units they're selling? They're making up for it in volume for sure, and yeah, I don't understand, especially only a $30 increase. It's
Like
like,
on
okay, if
average,
you were
right?
gonna,
Yeah.
yeah, if you were gonna go up, in price, I would think something more on the magnitude of like a 20% or something increase, if you're really actually hurting. Yeah. So without knowing the details, it's hard to know exactly, but seems really weird.
Yeah, and I think kind of the counter to that is like I think they probably are still at a slight loss, especially if they didn't shore up all those chips, and there's a lot going on, and it's weird, right? It would be $100 like an even number or something like that. So I feel like this is them like in a way penny pinching, but in a way like there's some truth to we're dealing with some crap here. We're dealing with some, please to understand.
Yeah,
You know what
Meta
I'm
did
saying?
the same thing with their not
Oculus
Oculus
Quest,
anymore, with Quests.
No Quest.
They increased the baseline price by $100,
Yeah.
but they were selling and still probably are at a massive loss. So
Yeah.
that was less surprising to me.
So I think, but as far as the loss, I think there might still be at a slight loss. So when you're saying like volume, that's volume and losses as well, right? Like the more they are selling and not increasing it slightly, the more they're losing, like whatever it is, 10, $15 at a time, right? So, but it is wacky. Dalan, before we kind of move on, what are your thoughts here?
I'm thinking that their little price hike is they're doing it specifically to nickel and dime people. This just reminds me of when they tried to launch the PS3 at $600. It reminds me when Chipotle
That was
started
hubris,
saying
though.
we're gonna
That
wrap.
was
It was hubris. That's what
That was
PlayStation
hubris.
has. They have hubris and they don't care. They
True.
said we are king and people will still buy us regardless of
You
what
will get a
price we
second
put on
job,
it.
Dalan.
I bet if you put that thing at $800, people would still be buying it.
Yeah. That's it. We'll see. But like Jeremy was saying, it's like it'd be like an even 100 or something, right? So it's like they're
I
playing.
expect a bigger hike increase.
Yeah.
The $30, that's a weird number to come across.
They're playing with fire a little bit. But we'll see what comes out of it.
Testing the waters.
For now, Nintendo and Xbox said like, "Ooh, we see like a little blood in the water here. Okay, we're not gonna do nothing. We're gonna just continue this way." The other thing that happened last week was Gamescom, and usually like with E3 and all these big conferences, it's really like the opening show, right, where you get a lot of the news and everything else is just kind of people play stuff and you get previews. So the main thing was Jeff Keighley's opening night live, which was in partnership with Gamescom. That was kind of like a presser, like an E3 kind of presser thing. As far as Gamescom, there was 265,000 visitors from 100 countries. 12 million people tuned into Jeff Keighley's on opening night live. But we did get a few news out of there. One of the main things was, of course, PlayStation announced their DualSense Edge, which is a, quote, high-performance version of the DualSense controller, which as far as I understand, there's kind of like little paddles and all kinds of, and you can remove the analogs from it. It looks cool. It just looks like what the Xbox has done with the Elite controller, right? But Dale, what do you think, man? Do you think this kind of convinces you to upgrade your controller?
I'm actually really excited about it. The way that PlayStation has been going with their DualSense controller, like if I could connect that to my computer, it'd be really neat, especially to play like first-party PlayStation titles. That'd be really cool. I'm really excited about the swappable analog sticks, which
Yeah.
is neat. I don't think I've ever seen that in a controller before, because that's like one of the number one things that I always had to replace with like my lifelong controllers is like the analog sticks that eventually rub against the controller and they get all withered down. Although I've never really experienced drift before, that would solve a lot of problems and a lot of like
Yeah, I mean,
issues.
where you can
But,
just kind of switch out one thing. Where
yeah.
where you would think it'd be a little cooler is if you could kind of how the Xbox has the analog on top and then on the other side it has it a little lower, but that's not an option, right? It's mainly just it stays in the same location of the controller, but you
Yeah,
just kind of
yeah. The
remove the
format's
analog.
still the same. I don't like that the the DualSense controller is symmetrical. I do like the asymmetrical layout of the Xbox controller more. It's more comfortable for the types of games that I like to play anyway. But I mean, it looks awesome. Like
Yeah,
you have all the extra, you have the trigger stops and you have all the bump stops and everything like that. So, and I use them a lot on the Xbox Elite Series too.
yeah.
So if there's a game that like utilizes all the haptics and everything in the DualSense controller and just upgraded, I'm totally
So
all
you're
about
kind of
that.
sold on it's gonna be like 150, 180 or whatever the
It's
Elite
gonna be a
comes for.
hundred
They said
and $75.
okay, and you're in. You're
Dang, it's
in.
double the price.
You're in at 175 day, or what do you think? What do you think?
175. That's triple the price. Isn't it?
Dale,
Dude, PSVR
Triple the
2 is gonna be
price.
nuts though. I don't know. I'm scared about that.
I'm scared, but we're gonna grab it. Well, at least I am. I'm a
I-
sucker for that. Dale, at 175, are you in for that the DualSense?
For the
Edge?
PlayStation one, yes. If it's
Okay.
gonna be like 200, so baseline Elite Series 2 is like 250.
Yeah.
If they go above that, I'm no, hell no.
Okay, that's too much. They're pushing
You
it at
have a
that point.
threshold.
They're pushing it at that point.
They set the benchmark. Don't go beyond that.
So one of the other things we had at the show, of course, we haven't seen this game in 8 years, but Dead Island 2 is finally has a release date for February 3rd. That's dropping. Dalan, thoughts on this on Dead Island 2, man?
It's not Dying Light.
What did I
And
say?
I like Dead Island 1.
Oh,
I know.
I think I
You
said Dead Island 2, right? Did I say the wrong
you
thing?
said
Okay.
Island 2.
Okay,
but
okay.
the immediate thing that pops in my head is it's not Dying Light.
Yeah.
And I liked Dying Light 1. I liked Dead Island 1. But then when Dying Light 2 came out, I was like, no, I hate this game. And apparently it's gotten better, but it's soured
We've
me.
left
I
it
can't go
behind,
back
right?
to it
At
now.
this point, we've
We
left
have
it
left
behind. Yeah.
Did you guys finish that?
Yeah, we did.
We did. And we did a ramp up too. We played Dying Light 1,
Yeah.
which at the very end, my saves got messed up or something like that. I was like, damn, I won't be able to get all the way to the
No,
end.
it wasn't even at
'cause
the
you
very
separate.
end. Middle of the game,
Yeah.
his PlayStation crashed and lost his save file. So then the rest of the game, he could not play without me without starting over.
Yeah.
So then we got all the way to the end of the game, and the very last mission said, you have to split from your party. We
And
were
I was like,
oh
no.
no.
I was like, no. But it let me finish it. And the
Do
good
it.
thing is, I didn't have to be leveled up enough because it was just a QTE, man. It ended up being like a QTE battle at the end. But Dead Island 2, Dylan, we'll try it, right? And I think it has up
Yeah, I'll
to
definitely try it.
8-player co-op potentially. So
Hey,
you know,
didn't Dead island 1 have like 4-player co-op at
don't
the very
know.
least?
Maybe Jeremy's
pretty
thoughts
sure it
can
did.
kind of confirm this for us. Dylan, or Jeremy, my bad, man. I'm lost. Just
Yeah,
sleep
we're
deprived.
interchangeable. I mean, look at us. We look like
Just
brothers.
look at you
It's
guys.
fine.
You guys look the same. Jeremy,
It's a 1-to-1.
Jeremy, Dead Island 2 thoughts, man, and can you confirm how many players can play this game?
No, I can't confirm how many players are for the
I'm
except for
pretty
the
sure it's
sequel.
4.
The first one, maybe it's because that's the only way I played it, but I thought the first one was single player only, to be honest with you. But yeah, I
it
played the
wasn't.
crap out of that back in the day. Which it was kind of, and I don't know if it's the same developer or not, but yeah, it's basically the predecessor to Dying Light.
Yeah.
I know it's minimum 3 players because I played with me, Genicel, and Jeremiah, but I can't remember if a fourth could join.
I'm trying to
Oh,
remember.
okay.
It's been so long since Dead Island 1.
Yeah,
right?
I played
don't-
it when it first came out.
Yeah.
Like, I can't remember now.
Yeah, I don't even know if I played it, to be honest. I might have tinkered with it a little bit, but definitely
Didn't play it all the way through
didn't
for
play it all the
sure.
way through. Next thing we have on here, of course, is Gotham Knights. It's coming out earlier. I think they're all trying to avoid. What do we call this, Dalen? What do we call it on the
The
podcast?
blast
They're
radius.
trying to avoid the blast
The blast.
radius of Modern Warfare 2 because I think Modern Warfare 2 comes out October 28th. So I
we
think
also
Gotham
have that
Knights,
issue of God of War. God of War is coming out in November.
yeah, in November. But this one's more direct. So these guys are Gotham Knights is coming out a week earlier. So I think
Yeah, but
originally,
we're talking about a one-player game. I think Gotham Knights is multiplayer as well.
well, yeah,
but
I mean, it's gonna take up your time, dude. Whatever it is,
Hey.
they don't want to come out the same day as Modern Warfare 2. They want
Yeah,
to
it's all
avoid that.
competing
Modern
for your
Warfare
time.
or God of War, both of
Yeah.
those just stay out of that circle.
So what do you think? That you're just kind of happy that's coming out a week? We're gonna get down with that, right? We're gonna mess
Hey,
with that.
people just needed to know October 21st is the day. Go play it.
There you go. The next thing on here, Sonic Frontiers comes out November 8th. I think I tweeted about it. It was like we were off by a week because last week I think we were saying November 15th. So we're keeping good predictions out here, I believe. Jeremy, what are your thoughts on Sonic Frontiers, or the date, or the fact that we have a date, November 8th?
Well, yeah, I was a little surprised that it's so soon, given that we hadn't really heard about it beforehand as far as the date's concerned. But the game itself, it just looks like, taking Sonic Adventure and ramping it up to 11, and I'm here for that.
Oh, you're hyped about. You haven't been listening to Salient Points, because we've had some negative reactions to it, and the developer, not us specifically, but the developers has hit up the internet like, no, you guys don't understand this game. I was like, well, I mean, help us understand the game. Dalan, what do you think, man? Is this thing ready to come out as far as what we've seen?
I saw some news that they ended up adding the big fat blue cat to it. I can't remember that cat's name. The one that used to like fishing and falling asleep in Sonic Adventures. Apparently, he has supposedly been spotted.
I think his name might have been just Big Cat, dude. I don't think they got that. Yeah, I don't think they got that creative with it. Yeah.
But the fact is that I heard that they threw him in this game, and I'm thinking that he's gonna be like an NPC, and maybe Amy's gonna be in there. Maybe they're starting to fill in the character roster. But it still looks very, very desolate. So it still has its own Sonic issues. Well, I'm going to tell you, Deo and Jeremy, right now. All the other 3D Sonic games that have come out. That we all have high expectations, and then as soon as they come out, they immediately drop because the game is terrible because they never successfully transferred into being a 3D game. Yeah. And I'm feeling that this is another one of those instances. You don't understand the game. F you, sir.
Yeah, it's funny that the Sonic movie, the Sonic MCU, is it SMU or whatever it is, the SCU. The SCU is better than the games, man. The movies understand Sonic better than the games. This is sad, but look, I hope it's good though, man. If it's good, we'll be on here telling you that it's pretty decent. But we'll find out. Next thing we have real quick, new Tales from the Borderlands is coming out October 21st. Talk about avoiding a blast radius there. I have the only reason I wanted to mention it on here is I haven't played the original one, so I kind of got to get back to that, and I heard it's good. You've played it a little bit, right, Dylan? So you heard you played Tales of the Borderlands. Was that decent?
I think we talked about it or touched base on it before, but I found the commentary and the story itself to be funny. They brought the comedy that comes with the original games into the Telltale games, but other than that, it wasn't too innovative for a video game itself. And I'm wondering if it's going to do the same thing. Is it going to be Borderlands the RPG instead of the first-person shooter RPG? I don't know. We'll find
out. The next thing, Dune Awakening, that got announced. It's an open-world survival MMO for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and PC. We'll see what they do with that, Dylan. You have some thoughts on that?
I like the Dune movie, so I was actually going to ask you guys, did it look good? Because I didn't get a chance to watch all of Gamescom.
No, I didn't get a chance.
I haven't seen any of this stuff.
See, I was like, I'm interested in it, but I was like, I didn't see it.
I didn't even know this.
No, so I watched a couple of trailers and whatnot, and to me it looks a lot like Conan Exiles, which is a very similar type of game. And I don't really do the survival genre.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's ew. I don't want to play it.
That's ew. That's ew. The next thing, so there's gonna be no more sunsetting for old content in Destiny 2. This is from a quote from the general manager Justin Truman. He said, "Quote: We're happy to announce today that we are not planning to sunset any more expansions. We want the Destiny universe to grow, and we're going to continue to do everything that we can behind the scenes to keep that possible within our game engine." So that's kind of cool. That keep that old content that we kind of go back to. But what do you think, Dalan? you're looking forward to no
They
sunset?
shouldn't have been sunsetting in the first place. They should have accommodated for the fact that these people bought this content. We're still reeling off the fact that Forsaken is gone. One of their best stories, Forsaken is gone. The whole start of Destiny 2, like you lost all of your light powers, you got to get your light powers back. That was an excellent story. Fighting Gaul or whatever his name is. That entire story was excellent. Gone. Just they're taking away all the content.
Now they're owned by Sony, Dalan. Now they're
owned by Sony. Bring back the old content. Then, if you got enough wiggle room for it, just bring it back. I don't care about you sunsetting.
Look, they're owned by Sony.
Just
honestly,
let us keep our old content.
And honestly, Sony, I think, just bought them to know like what an MMO is. Like, how do you do that? We don't care about. It's like they push Destiny to the side. That's fine. That's your side project. That's light work over there. How do you do a first-person shooter? How do you do an open world game? That's what we want to know, right? But now they have the money.
Both worlds.
Yeah, right.
We saw what happened with Babylon's Fall, and that one person still playing, so they need help.
Yeah, because I think you don't pay, what is it, $3.6 billion or whatever it is for Bungie to just like, we love Destiny so much, keep it up. We love it, but I don't know if Sony's like, we love it so much, keep doing Destiny. I think they want to kind of grab some of that kind of, situation from them, some of that expertise. Jeremy, what are you thinking about here as far as the sunset?
Well, for me, it's like I read that quote and I'm like, okay, sure. I don't believe it. Like, there's no promises within that quote, right? And at the rate that they're adding stuff, considering the amount of content that they removed prior to this, it's like, okay, yeah, but how much longer can you really go before you have to start pulling stuff out? If your excuse was that you had to cut this stuff before because your game engine couldn't handle it, okay, that's fine, but you're now adding like another 25% more stuff onto the front end. So are we going to get a Destiny 3 in a couple of years or what?
Jeremy, I don't think that was kind of the thing. I think what it is, it's like irrelevant content in a way. And maybe they're kind of trying to save, I don't know, the servers or something like that. But now they have
Forsaken was not irrelevant.
Irrelevant. I like that, Dalan. I like that pushback. But maybe irrelevant in the sense of like getting you more power levels and how to keep it, going that way, I suppose. Dale, how are you doing on percentages?
When they were talking about getting rid of weapons. Yeah, what's your percentage?
You doing good? Got a little bit more
At 32.
Okay.
Ooh,
so
damn.
We got Dale for about 30. We got Dale for about 12%. But we will discuss. I'm sure we'll continue the Destiny discussion.
We'll be fine.
Anything else as far as Gamescom? Dale didn't watch it. Dalan, anything that from Gamescom that we missed?
I'm still up for Callisto Protocol, and they put some extra stuff in there for what they were announcing. But really, it's just like, that just reinforced the fact that I want Callisto Protocol very badly.
I'm down for it too. They haven't said if it's co-op, huh? It might be single player.
Damn, is it?
Yeah, I don't care if it's single player. I enjoyed Dead Space 1 and 2 so much. I don't care if it's co-op or not, because Dead Space 3 went co-op and it straight up killed the series. So keep it single player, keep it tight.
I don't know if that was like the single thing that killed the series.
The thing that killed it was the microtransactions. That's what really killed it. But that's not the point.
Potentially. That's neither here nor there. Jeremy, also Callisto Protocol. You kind of like what you saw from it?
Yeah, same as Dalan. I love the first two Dead Space games, so I'm looking forward to see exactly what they do with this. I mean, on the one hand, I'm excited about it. On the other hand, it's like, okay, this does kind of just look like more of the same as far as Dead Space is concerned, which is not a bad thing, but it's also less exciting because I don't really see much in the way of innovation happening there.
I think it's going to be more storytelling. And if they take anything from Resident Evil 2, they're going to have monsters follow you wherever you go.
Well, and part of Callisto will be like how much of Dead Space they bring forward and how much they leave behind, right? Like how much original that they see. It looks like Dead Space now, right? But we'll see how much they leave behind and how much innovative things we see, as Jeremy was mentioning. Right?
Hey man, it's the prequel to Dead Space.
You also saw a couple more things, Jeremy, that kind of piqued your interest.
Yeah. So Forspoken looks amazing. Just waiting to hear more about that. I've seen a couple of the gameplay videos. There's a recent one, pretty long. I think it's like 10 minutes or something like that. But it just reinforced that I want to play that game so bad.
There you go.
And then 40K Dark Tide. So this is essentially the spiritual
Is it
successor of
Warhammer?
Vermintide. Yeah, exactly. It's Warhammer
Mhm.
set in the 40K universe, so it's more first-person shooter than Vermintide, which was set in the Warhammer Fantasy universe and used like primarily melee weapons. And yeah, it looks like an evolution on Vermintide, and I'm so down for that. I don't think, Carlos, you ever played Vermintide with
No,
us.
I know Dan's been trying to
but
get me to mess with it. Maybe I will, possibly, potentially.
It's think Left 4 Dead in
Ooh,
a
wait,
different
hold on.
setting,
Hold on.
and where you can't
I'm
suck.
interested.
Like, you will
Hey,
die.
man, it's medieval Left 4 Dead. That's what it is.
Okay. You're
Graphics
speaking
look
my
hella
language.
good in that game.
You've played that game, Dale? You know about it? Or...
I haven't played it, but like I've seen like
I
gameplay of
played
it.
it. No.
But like the graphics look like for a first-person shooter, it's like one of the like it looks like a next-gen first-person shooter right now.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll mess with it. We'll move on to quick takes here. We call it quick in quotes here. The first thing we have is Microsoft is saying that they're expecting to have less Xbox platform exclusives and more cross-play titles. Mainly from Phil Spencer, who's the chief executive officer of gaming at Xbox. He said, quote, "We really love to be able to bring more players in, reducing friction, making people feel safe, secure when they're playing, allowing them to find their friends, play with their friends regardless of what device." Dalan, we'll go with you on this one first, man. What do you think about this?
I'm thinking that it's perfectly fine that they're not going to be focusing on exclusive games simply because they bought all these damn companies up and they don't have to worry about that anymore. They're just going to get first person exclusive games regardless. So they're like, you know what? Let's focus on just making it funner for people. This is now the console where they could actually use the logo power to the players. I think Sony should just.
It's a GameStop thing that they're gonna try to steal there, Dalan. But I feel you on that.
I'm just saying.
Gotcha.
They're trying to give all the power to the players. They're giving it back.
Got you. Jeremy, what do you think, man?
Oh no, just honestly, this sort of thing has kind of been happening over the last few years when it comes to Microsoft, and just want to give them props. Like, I can't remember a time when we had this much level of interactability between platforms. Like, half the time when we're talking about playing a game, it's like, oh, it's on Game Pass, we can all play it together, or oh, it's cross-platform. So the more of that we get, the better.
Well, and I think it's easy for Microsoft to say because of what you just mentioned, right? What their strategy has been, as far as like, yeah, it's not going to be exclusive, but get it on Game Pass because everybody's on Game Pass. So, and also some of the stuff with Call of Duty, yeah, maybe it'll always be on PlayStation, but the early betas will be on Xbox. You'll have it for free, quote unquote, for free on Game Pass. So there's a lot of things that it's easy for them to say, right? And if we go a few years back, of course, Fortnite forced everyone's hand to go crossplay, right? Like they're like, we need this crossplay. So we can thank we don't play it. I don't believe we play it on this podcast. I believe 100% of this podcast doesn't necessarily play Fortnite, but thank you, Fortnite, for getting us that crossplay because it's just a huge game, right? Next thing we have on here, Twisted Metal Season 1 TV. That's done filming. They celebrated with having, who's the main guy on there, Dalan? Sweet Tooth? They had like a Sweet Tooth type truck back up with ice cream and stuff. That's how they celebrated.
I'm not even sure who the main character is, but they'd be talking about Axel and Sweet Tooth and all
We'll see when that comes out, but they finished filming, so it's in the can. It's in the can.
What about Twister, though? What about Twister?
I'm not worried about Twister.
You just start naming off characters and just see what pops. And actually, I know I redacted this when I probably said no to this particular subject, but I was sad to find out that Resident Evil, the series, already got canceled. It did. It already got canceled.
I'm on episode 2. I just started watching it.
Breaking news for Dale, man. Breaking news. Good job.
Damn.
Good job on
Just ruined this man's life.
So we pushed a couple of quick takes on here, Dale, up a little bit just to kind of get you going, if you know, or whenever, if you as much juice as you want to kind of
Yeah, I'm at 18%. I think I gotta
Let's
bow
get
out.
you through these real quick then. Real quick.
Okay. Right.
The Valve confirms that there's going to be future iterations of the Steam Deck. It's going to be a multi-generational product line with, quote, "We will build new versions to be even more open and capable than the first version of Steam Deck has been." And this is through Wario64. Thank you, Wario64, for the deals and the quotes. Deo, you have a Steam Deck, as far as I understand, right? What do you think of
It's
this?
glorious.
That you're getting a 1.0, 2.0, 3.0 version.
Hey, mail it to me. I want to try it out.
Mail it to me. Don't do that.
Come over to my house.
There you go.
Halfway across California, sure.
Deo.
Yeah, gas is going down. You know.
Yeah, you'll be able to make it. It's economical. Deo, what do you think about this, man? As far as like we're getting more Steam Decks.
I think so. Like I've been messing around with Steam Deck for like 4 weeks to 6 weeks, I think it was, and it's very fun. It's very open platform. That's the best part about it, which is like it's just a mini PC that could run Steam games, and other things. You know, I don't want to say what those other things are
Oh, no, we
because they might be.
understand.
Don't move your
Wink,
head
wink.
like that when you're talking about
I
it.
understand.
It is understood.
You know,
Say less.
But as far as hardware goes, it's definitely a like version 1.0. There's a lot of stuff they need to fix, but if they keep like the software on it, like the Proton firmware software and everything, like the way that they're developing it and making it a little more open for developers and everything, it's awesome. It's so much fun to have, and it's the shitty thing is the battery life. That's the only thing I hate about it. It's just.
How long
I
does
was
it
playing
last?
Stray, and like I could only play like 20 minutes of Stray. Like,
Damn.
Really?
But
Like
I'm
on a full charge?
Yeah,
on
it's
a
rough.
Full charge to 0.
yeah,
Wow, that's wild. Yeah, I think it looks cool, and I get everything that you say. When you mention that though, it feels Game Gear-ish. I remember playing the Game Gear,
but
back
it's
in the day.
comfortable.
You better plug
Like
that
Game
thing
Gear
in.
was comfortable.
Okay, it's huge though. Is it not huge? Do you get over
It's
the
big,
hugeness
but
of
it's not like like I think the Game Gear is actually like 3 times as heavy
yeah,
as
well,
with the batteries and everything.
but
It's 3 times as heavy as
we're
the Steam
that's
Deck.
early '90s, man, with the postage size LED screen or whatever
Yeah.
it is. But now we have Switch consoles, right? So that's kind of what we need to compare it to nowadays. But can you get over that it's humongous? I suppose it's still
Definitely.
comfortable even past
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Because when I go from my Switch compared to the Steam Deck, like the Switch, I don't have a SWOLED, but the screen and the bezels on the Switch is really like annoying once you start using a Steam Deck.
Yeah.
And the audio and the speakers on the Steam Deck are much better than what's on the Nintendo console.
Okay.
So
Snaps.
And you
if
don't
it's
feel
available on Steam, most likely it's also going to be like really cheap and for sale like after
Yeah.
launch. So I most likely will get it there. But you need a Switch in order to play like the Mario exclusive stuff. So
And I mean, that's kind of the killer app in a way, right? It's the fact that access to the Steam store, right?
Yeah.
As far as the deck is concerned. And for the most part, most everything will run on it, right? Even though
and those
you can
other
only-
games,
and
those
other
you
games,
know,
yeah. Good thing you
games
said
from
games.
games of yore,
Yeah.
Those
good thing-
legal emulations.
those legal emulations
Yes,
that I
exactly.
found in my house.
Yeah.
It was in a box.
So you don't feel like it's like these guys are already talking about the sequel to this thing, right? You don't feel a little certain way about that. You're good with like
2.0. He just said 1.0. He
And
means
that's what it is.
2.0.
No, I might
I
have
think it seems like it needs another refresh at this
Yeah.
point, right?
It
Another
does.
pass at it. Try to get some more power efficiency in
Mhm.
there and that sort of stuff.
It's
Yeah,
okay. I'll just buy an Atari VCS. It's good.
There you go. So next up before Dale's computer kind of conks out on him.
No, I think it's conking out right now. So I gotta
Okay, all right,
end
Dale.
the
He's
audio
got a
there.
zip.
Later,
Dale.
Hey, thanks for
All right,
joining
all
us.
right.
Later, man. Take care.
Thanks, guys. Yeah.
That really killed his battery there, man. That kinda murder it. So
Hey, at least he got to talk about the Steam Deck.
There
That's
you
the
go.
important part.
There you go. So,
All right.
Dale,
Steam Deck
whenever you kind of dip out, Dale, we'll just kind of continue on here. I hope it keeps going. I don't know if we've had like drop in, drops out.
Okay.
But,
No, I gotta go.
all right,
It's
Dale.
dead.
Later, man.
All right,
Later.
deuces.
See
Bye.
ya. Let's see. Okay, there it is. It kind of just continued. So that's good, I guess. You guys didn't want to talk about this Need for Speed thing, so we'll move on. The next thing on here is we have Shinji Mikami on Resident Evil 4. He says, quote, "We weren't planning on doing something innovative, but in the end, everyone kept saying we did." And he's mainly referring to kind of like the camera and the aspect ratio of it. And it's a little weird, I think, to hear him say this, but it's kind of like, I think sometimes when you're working on things, and like I kind of wish we had Luis on here, but I feel like when you're working on video games or whatever, you're just coming up with concepts and gameplay aspects, and you're not thinking, let's be innovative. I think you're thinking of, how do we make this scary? How do we make this more action packed? And it's behind the, behind the camera, behind the, kind of have them following them around that way. But what do you think, Dalan, as far as Shinji Mikami's quote?
I think that a lot of video games, mainly first-person video or single-player video games, they are built nowadays far more like movies than they are specifically like video games. Yes, you want it to be fun, but in Resident Evil's case, yes, you want it to be scary. So you have to take what you have on hand and make it look better. I mean, kind of like, I know they didn't use it properly, but Battlefield Earth, they use that tilt camera angle like the whole movie to actually create an effect. And they definitely did that. Star Trek, they had their lens flares, and they were trying to actually make it look like everything was bright and like from the future, which also kind of ruined the lens flare effects. But the point is that they tried something new with something that was very old.
And they're not necessarily thinking. Maybe they are. I think some some people are thinking, let's do something cool, let's do something new. But I feel sometimes like we just want to create this effect. How do we make it work?
They're just being creative with what they got. There's a reason why Alien 1, even though it had crappy design and terrible things that they had to work with in order to make the movie, that movie came out excellent simply because of placement of their technology and what they did with their technology. And they're doing the same thing with Resident Evil. They just use it in a particular way and it just looks better.
So Shinji Mikami, I like the humble brag. Little humble brag situation there. We were just working on a game. We were just working on a game. The next thing we have on here is that there might be a friends and family Game Pass tier leaked. That's kind of interesting. There's even a logo out there. A Twitter user, Alumnia_Italia, found it. So, I didn't dig too much into this, but what do you think about that friends and family tier, Dalan, as far as the Game Pass is concerned?
I said it before, and I'll say it again. If this actually launches, I will be happy right off the bat, because it's one of those things that you have multiple people on your Xbox that are in your family or maybe a friend or something like that. Like, for example, when I came over to your house, I wanted to play some of those Game Pass games with you, but I could not because I was not on your friends list, or at least not in the same fashion. And it was very irritating. Yes, they got more money out of me because I went and bought the Game Pass, but I'm still not happy about that.
And you're hooked. And to be honest, you're still I don't think you see yourself canceling Game Pass anytime soon, right?
Nah, man, I was like, I haven't touched the Game Pass in like 2 months because now the PlayStation Plus Supreme is out. But the fact is, I'm still paying for the Xbox Game. But I know this actively. I know it at the forefront of my mind. It's not like the subscription is there and I forgot about it. It's, I know I'm paying for it this month. Damn, why do I still have this?
Well,
the games are still good. I shouldn't get rid of it.
It's a just in case. It's like we were talking about before, man. When something drops on there and it's multiplayer, it's just easy. We all know we can jump on and play.
I'll tell you what, though, I need to get rid of my Nintendo Pass, whatever that is.
Yeah, well, and I think that's what they want, right? They know that, right? It's like we have to give them a little taste of good shit every other month or something like that. Hopefully once a month, but honestly, they want you hooked on there because by the time the charge goes to your card, man, you're like, all right, I'll play it one more month and then I'll cancel it next month, and then next month comes around, you're like, damn, they charged me again. I forgot about it. So that's kind of the whole thing to subscriptions, right? Is the fact that you hook someone, it's cheap enough to you kind of have second thoughts on it for canceling it. Right? If you
what happened to Paramount Plus, Carlos?
Oh, I canceled that immediately, but they only had Halo. And the main thing with Paramount Plus is that the app itself is horrible, man. Like, it's a horrible experience. So, hey, if you want to sponsor us, Paramount Plus, well, first, we'll be honest though. They can sponsor us, and they still got to run a good.
Carlos, stop. We already shit talked the whole app Plus. Like multiple times.
But it's terrible.
I'll tell you what.
You brought it up, Dalan. Don't be over here questioning me.
Newton sponsor.
Newton's Fig is sponsoring this week. Dalan, this one's for us as well. We're kind of hyped, I feel, and I think they renamed it a little bit from what I can tell. But there's gonna be the Dark Pictures, The Devil in Me, which I think it was the Dark Pictures Chronicles, but I think they're trying to mess with the title or something. So all I can see was the Dark Pictures, The Devil in Me is dropping November 18th. Dylan, we getting down with this, right? There's
It
no fun,
was
right?
dark. It was Dark Pictures Anthologies, but The Devil in Me was definitely the title of the next portion, the finale of this season, because we're gonna get more after that.
2 years later, 2 years
mm.
season, but it's fine. We're good.
What is this? Like, I don't know how, but somehow I have not even heard of this.
No. You've heard of us talking about it, Jeremy. It's Man of Medan, Little Hope, House of Ashes. They're all in the same series. They're just horror games.
Yeah. But they're
Okay.
co-op.
Yeah.
But they're co-op. We can play them co-op, and we're all doing our own thing, and we kind of
At the same time, getting each other killed.
That's what you were talking about, play in parallel, right?
Yeah. But so it's a company called Supermassive that makes these games. Their biggest games are really like the Quarry and Until Dawn. Those are like their big, like, tentpole games, and like Dark Pictures Anthology has been kind of like their in-betweens. And the quality is lower, but you can play together co-oply. We were just playing the Quarry. We talked about it on the show already, but the Quarry is you vote in that game, right? That's kind of what you do in the Quarry. But in these games, which are more quote unquote budget, you actually play at the same time. So it's, we're hyped about The Devil in Me, right? Dylan? We're gonna get down with that.
Yes, I want to play that.
That's
game
coming
very
out
much.
November
So it's basically gonna be Saw the video game.
Yeah, you would look.
better.
It's funny that it's November 18th and not like before Halloween or something, right? Maybe remember they moved from like the Ukraine, or from Russia to the Ukraine, and that's why the multiplayer got delayed in the Quarry. So maybe that's why they pushed it out, right? I'm sure they would have liked to have dropped this in October, right?
Hey man, I'm sure they would like to drop this anytime away from Call of Duty or God of War, but they're right in the blast radius.
That's true. That is true.
They moved into the Ukraine
Yeah,
in the middle of a war.
That's
why
why
they had to move out of the Ukraine. They had to move.
Oh,
that's right.
Okay, I was highly confused.
You're right. Thank you for that clarification. But yes, it's true, Dalan, and it's kind of funny because they will be fully into the blast radius. Like Call of Duty's out by this time. God of War is out already, or no? Or is the following week? But whatever it is, Call of Duty.
The 11th? No, not the 11th. It's early November.
Somewhere around there. So these guys, oh man, we'll be the sole people playing this game, Dalan. But we'll do it. All right, we're gonna move into what you've been playing here. I'm kind of happy about how we've been moving along, man. With 4 people on the podcast, it's usually a little scary proposition. But one thing we've all been playing, and Dalan, the reason we were late, and the reason Dayo's battery died like 30% because Dalan was playing Rocket League in a tournament that he lost.
Wait. What do you mean we were late? Only one person was late.
All right. First off,
it's a collaborative effort, though. It's a collaborative effort.
Hey.
But Dalan, yes.
First off, I was ready at 5 o'clock. All right. Second off, God of War is coming out November 9th.
Okay.
Third off, I started a tournament and we lost.
And you killed Dalan's battery, all right? Or you allowed it to be drained like 20-30%. But anyway,
that 20% was probably on me.
So just so you could lose a tournament.
Hey man, I was on the cusp, and y'all were hitting me up in the text. I was like, all right, now I'm rushing, and it wasn't even me that lost it. The homies dropped the ball and did not have any defense for whatever reason during the last match, and it killed us, man. It killed us. We were literally 1-1 finals. Score was 1-1, and then they dropped the ball.
And meanwhile, I have that banner that sought after.
Shut up!
Season 7 champion banner. But anyways, the reason we're talking about it this week, because of course we play it every single week, but Jeremy has been kind of interested in getting down with some Rocket League, right? And you've what's been your experience so far, Jeremy? Trying to kind of get to know the mechanics and whatnot.
So for me, the thing that's been the most frustrating, I think, is figuring out the physics of the ball, right? Because the ball, I always think it's gonna move faster than it does. That thing moves glacially most of the time. And so I'll set myself up to take a shot or to block something, and I'll miss because the ball is, still in the air. But I'm figuring it out.
Dalan's over here in the thing. Stop moving it, Dalan. Stop messing with it. But it's funny to think that it's like glacially, because I mean, maybe I think it's just getting used to the physics, man. Because I don't know if I've said it on the podcast. I'll say it again if I have. But Rocket League's kind of a perfect game, dude. It's kind of a perfect game. I can only equate it, and maybe it's a little blasphemous for people to hear, but I can only equate it to like a Tetris, dude. Because Tetris is also basically kind of a perfect game. It's just a game, dude. Like the purest form of a game, and it's pretty damn up there. I feel. So I feel like it's mainly get used to the physics, and you've tinkered with the sensitivity, right, to your car, your controls, right?
Yeah,
So
that made a world of difference. Yeah.
But you'll keep at it. Are you leveled enough? Because I know you're leveling enough to get into ranked matches. How far are you from that?
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. Okay, because maybe we
And
get
I
to
think
the tourney. Maybe we get to hit the tourney at 9.
well, the challenges reset, I think, tomorrow. So maybe I'll be able to make up those last couple levels or whatever, and then play some ranked with you guys.
All right.
Challenges reset on Wednesday, good sir.
Oh, okay.
You see how Dalan was just putting you down at the same time as he was informing you? He was
No,
like, you know
no.
what? You don't know anything, but I'm gonna tell you. Let me tell you.
Carlos, I want to throw a rock at your forehead.
Do
but
it.
let's
Do it.
go
You're
do
gonna
the
throw it
thing.
at your own monitor over there. So do it. I dare you to. You guys have also been playing. I haven't dipped into it, but maybe tomorrow we'll get down with some Destiny 2. But you guys have been playing it, right? In the last week, or at least just Dalan,
Yes.
Or how's
Nah,
Destiny been?
Yeah, I mean, I specifically am pretty much at the point where the only thing that I can really do that has any purpose at this point is like the higher level dungeons and the raids. So essentially at this point, Dalan and I just hop on whenever we're both available and we have a third person and we can actually run those things. But
So,
there's a new
Carlos,
season that just dropped. It's kind of cool. There's some fun stuff in there, there's a pirate theme, that sort of stuff. But for the most part, we'll just jump in and try the dungeons, which are excellent.
Oh yeah,
we
dude,
just need to get back to the dungeons.
That's kind of the best content in that. I mean, look, like Dalan was mentioning earlier, the campaign Forsaken was pretty damn good, right? But yeah, all that content, there's like busy work that's not as fun, but it's all pretty good. In the busy work, you're just enjoying the mechanics of the game, right? But other than that, like the high level stuff, the dungeons and the raids, it's like that's Destiny, dude. That's his bread and butter, I guess. That's like the best part of it. It's unfortunate that people have to be leveled and you have to have people coordinating, and it can be rough.
And the new raid dropped, or I guess it's the old raid that's redropped. It's King's Fall.
Yeah.
So the King's Fall raid is apparently back to frustrate all of us.
That's a good
but
one.
we
That's
still
a good one.
but we still need to finish some of these new dungeons that people haven't done. So we definitely got to get to that, because Jeremy, I believe one of the things that we did was this last week we did the duality, right?
Yeah, we made an attempt.
We made an attempt. The whole bell mechanic was new, but I just need to ask, because I know you swapped places with me and Jeremy Hitchcock. What happened? The reason you guys dropped off so quickly?
Wait, do we need to know that on the podcast? Is that necessary while we're on a podcast?
Suffice it to say, there were some people lacking.
Okay, so
Nick.
The thing,
pick up the sticks.
Hey! Whoever Dalan is hitting up right now, I'm trying to protect you guys from it being put on wax, but it's on wax now. People getting hit up. So Destiny 2, I'm sure we'll hit up some duality, right? We'll have more to say on that. That dungeon's been out for a couple weeks or a couple months now, Dalan, or
it's been out about a month.
Okay, well we gotta hit that up, and I think I gotta pay like $20 or something. That's why I stepped away last time. I was like, wait, what?
You gotta get that dungeon key. Yeah. I believe we touched base on that before. You were very upset about that dungeon key situation.
That's Destiny 2.
And Lightfall, the new expansion, is $100. And you basically get the same stuff, but you get like one exotic weapon now instead of when the thing drops.
Right. We don't have a release date for that though, right? That's 2023 at some point, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's like February 2023.
I'll be saving my pennies, I suppose, because I don't want to get this situation where charge me more.
Let's be real. You're not gonna not play Destiny, Carlos.
I know. That's
at least for the raids.
That's kind of the thing, right? All right, so we'll get to what you've been playing to kind of finish off, Jeremy, in a little bit. But yeah, this past week I did play some What Remains of Edith Finch. I know it's been out since 2017. It's basically a walking simulator. But what I love that they do in the game is I don't know if you guys ever played like Splinter Cell Blacklist, and I think I've mentioned it before, but the story is going on and you see things on the walls, you see it on the ground, you see like letters popping up as they're telling you the story. So as far as a walking simulator is, I kind of like it. I kind of dig it. It's like a 2-hour game. It's on Game Pass. It leaves on the 31st. So if you guys haven't played it and you have Game Pass, make sure to try it out. It's a very quick game. It's interesting. It doesn't answer all the questions you want answered necessarily. So that's a little, it depends, right? I kind of like open-ended things, but this one got a little wacky. But I do like that in the you know, in the in the kind of mechanics of it, just kind of how creative they can be, Dalen. So I kind of, if you haven't played it, Dalen, I kind of recommend it. It's a 2-hour game. It's leaving Game Pass soon. The other game I want to get to is 12 Minutes, of course. That also leaves on the 31st. And other than that, I've been playing the Quarry, trying to get all the trophies. I've played through that game like 3 times now, Dalen. So if you're trying to get the platinum in that, yeah.
I'm not.
Dude, and
not
one
at all.
decision that you don't even know how it relates to anything else, but I'm following a guide. So the guide, and I'm like, wait, why does that just makes no sense? Like, how would I have known to have made that decision to affect me 5 chapters down the line? So
You're not supposed to know. That's the thing.
Yeah,
People
but-
are creating these guides based on the fact that you don't want to figure it out yourself. But
Yeah.
the creators did that whole very innovative thing
Yeah.
where they said, this is very limited, but we get to make branching stories. Let's just make a whole shitload of
Yeah,
and let's connect something at the very end to shit at the very beginning. And so when you're playing the game, you're just like, I'm immersed in this world, and you're making these minor ass choices and you don't know what it is. You could have just left the cabin and not kicked down the door.
The game
okay.
the game is fun enough that I'll put up with that wackiness, dude. And Jeremy was over at the house the other day. Was it Sunday? He was over at the house, and I was showing him a bunch of clips I have, Dalen, from all the little quips in the game. And Jeremy, does that make you at all interested? All the little quips I was showing you, like the pop pop song, Dalen, and all that random crap that was going on.
Not enough to play it. However, keep recording those because I'm gonna watch them.
Yeah, I know. Luis is working on that. By the way, I hope we mentioned Luis. He's moving, so he's not on the show. We're over here at the end of the show mentioning him. But he's working on a kind of a Quarry video that I think you guys will enjoy. So we'll make sure to kind of throw that out there. Jeremy, what else have you been playing, man? To kind of finish off this show here.
So it's kind of a staple for me at this point, but basically whenever I've got like 15, 30 minutes to kill, jump on and play Slay the Spire, which is a roguelike deck building game. It's very similar mechanically to like if you were to play a deck building board game. I think that's why I like it so much. That it's turn-based, so it's really chill. Like for a roguelike, I can attempt a run and I don't feel like I'm wasting time because I can pause it whenever I want, walk away from it, take my time to figure things out. And that's the thing I don't like about most roguelikes. They turn into bullet hells, you know, by the late game, where it's like you feel like you're getting killed by bullshit most of the time, right? And you can still get unlucky in Slay the Spire, but you have a little more control.
Well,
so that's been like my pick up and put down.
Based on what you're saying, it's kind of like a zone out game, right? Like you're chilling. It's not really like high commitment in a sense. You're like, I'm gonna chill, maybe have a drink or whatever. To me, that's Rocket League. But I was telling you, you got to get to a certain level in Rocket League before that becomes a zone out type of game, right? But is that?
I'm looking at pictures of some like, man, you fighting a big old whale with 3 eyes, and it's talking to you. It's a talking whale.
I think it's on everything too, right, Dalan?
It's on everything.
You play
Switch,
it on PC, but it's on Switch and then PlayStation.
I played on.
Xbox.
Yeah, I play on my PS5 mostly.
Do you run out of attacks if you run out of cards?
Oh, we've talked about this, Jeremy. We don't like that. We don't like that.
You don't run out of cards. It's exactly like a deck building board game. So when you get to the end of your draw pile, it gets reshuffled, right? Your discard pile eventually shuffles back into your draw pile. So there is no running out of cards.
Right.
Yeah, so it still sounds like Kingdom Hearts Shuffle Edition. That's what it is.
Kingdom Hearts Shuffle Edition. And that's the episode for us, Salient Points number 80, for, what was the date? August 30th, 2022. Make sure to like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. I'm Carlos Macias. What did you call me, Dalan? The King of Newtons? Or the Mayor of
no, I didn't
Newtontown?
call it the Master of Turtles.
Master Turtles.
Master Splinter in this bitch.
Dalan Kirkwood, thank you for joining us from up in the mountains. So, glad you could kind of carve out a little bit of time, Dalan, from your tournament over there and join the podcast.
You're welcome. At least I showed up without the case of the Mondays because of this.
Thank you, Dalan. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jeremy Lowe, nice of you to drop by as well, sir. I like your little collection in the background over there, little board game collection.
Yeah, I noticed you what is the word I'm looking for? You relocated things.
A little bit.
rearranged. You rearranged your memory.
Well, thank you for joining us, Jeremy, this week. Dale Blotz as well. We'll see you guys next week.
We'll miss you, Dale Blas. R.I.P. laptop.
I was like, what is he gonna say? He's gonna RP somebody real quick.
R.I.P. laptop.
Not to get real serious.
Be careful. Be careful.